And
we're live.
Yeah. I'm like, it's been a day. It's Monday. It is the Mondayest of Mondays. Yeah. But we are here.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Yolanda with Harper Therapy. I'm a co-founder, and I'm here with Dr. Giara Blanco today. Hello. And we've got a really great topic.
We do today.
A really important topic.
A significant topic, and we have had a lot of questions regarding this topic. We have had a lot of couples working through this, and we decided let's just bring it into our lives.
Yeah, and today we are talking about how to navigate through and survive co-parenting. Yeah. So we're very much in support of couples and doing their work to strengthen their relationships, and when it comes to the point where a couple decides they're going to go their separate ways, there are often children.
Yes.
And there's still a relationship, a different kind of relationship.
A relationship that will last for the rest of their children's lives, and understanding that it can be bumpy at the beginning.
Right, because all of those dynamics that have been at play in the relationship that have led to the dissolution of the relationship are still at play.
Yeah. So co-parenting is something that you don't go into marriage thinking, oh yeah, let me get my co-parenting skills in place. You don't go into thinking like that. But when it does happen, then you are faced with a reality of, now how do I communicate with a person who I don't know how to communicate with regarding the well-being of our children? Right. So co-parenting skills are going to be very important for that. And one of the things that I wanted to emphasize when we started is understanding that this is a process that requires work. It requires a lot of intentionality and acknowledging the difficulty of it. So let's start with that. This is not a walk in the park.
No.
But it is definitely a walk worth walking for the well-being of our children. For the
well-being of our children, because a lot of times couples do not want to replicate the same situations that they grew up in. A lot of times people have experienced their parents' own divorce.
Yes.
And that not being a very sanctimonious process. And so there's a great attempt to help or to keep their own children from experiencing something similar.
And we kind of figured out there's some 5 basic points that we can address to help you in that process.
Let's hear it.
One of them, and this is even before the 5 steps, it's like, let's acknowledge that there are no right or wrong ways. Your way, their way, they're different. None is right or wrong. They're just different.
Especially in regards to parenting, right?
Yes. Finding the middle ground. So how do we find that middle ground?
If there were the perfect way of parenting,
what
someone would have written a book by now. But
exactly.
Yeah.
There is no book out there.
No,
that actually,
we've looked. Yeah. I've looked.
Looked high and far. So the first step would be, once you get out of mediation, once you get out of that court, there is a document that specifies arrangements and visitations and how to work with different things, where monies are going to be allocated and everything. Use that as a guide, but be human around that legal document, understanding that it will require some getting used to, some flexibility, some shifting at some point, and it is not to be used as a weapon.
Right.
That it hurts me when I hear parents say, oh, I'm taking him to court, or I'm taking her to court because they deserve this, and that. The document is there for the well-being of the children.
Here's the invitation. Model the behavior that you hope your children
would do later on in life.
Would engage in.
Yes.
Be the adult that you hope that your child grows to be.
Yeah. And that can be difficult.
Oh, sure.
Especially when you're angry at your ex-partner.
There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of grieving happening. So much. And that is where we are called to be the adults and to do our own work in that, so that we show up as the best version possible
of ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's the first one.
Yeah.
Use that document as a guide, not as a weapon. The second one is look into your love languages. Yes, I understand you're no longer with that person.
Right.
However, understanding what your love language is and what their ex-partner's love language is will help you react in a way that is healthy. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that your love language is quality time,
Right.
and your ex-partner's love language is receiving gifts. You get very angry when your ex-partner returns the kids maybe 4 hours before the designated time and they're full of toys. You're thinking, what type of parenting is that? It's not a type of parenting. They are speaking in their love language. You speak in a different love language. So even if you are separated, even if you're not cordial with your ex-partner, do the love language exercise for yourself.
Yeah. This is really helpful to know about yourself, about your partner. Kind of goes hand in hand with what our core values are, right?
Yes.
So they kind of are intertwined together. And it goes back to what you said at the very beginning. No one way is the only perfect exact way of doing things.
True.
So being generous with that space.
So that would be step number 2.
Yeah.
Know your love language, and if by any chance you kind of can figure out what your ex-partner's love language is, you have a better understanding. You decrease the disappointment, because disappointment then leads to anger. The third one would be let go of expectations, or talk about what you're expecting from each other after the divorce or the separation. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have these expectations. When they don't meet them, again, we get disappointed. Disappointment leads to anger.
Yeah.
Anger leads to poor communication.
Yeah.
And who's caught in the fire?
The kids.
The kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kids are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the next one would be share a co-parenting calendar. Share a co-parenting calendar where you discuss what weekends or what weeks you have off or on. If there have to be arrangements because one of you is going out of town for a conference, flexibility is going to be key.
Because that goes both ways. That flexibility, yeah.
If this is something that improves your career or your ex-partner's career, hey, the kids are going to benefit from that. So being flexible with that, arranging, hey, is there a special holiday, a grandma's birthday, or a school event that they need to go to? Share the recitals, share the parent-teacher meetings, so that even if the other parent cannot go, they are in the loop. They can engage the children in conversation when they pick them up, and they can actually touch base and say, hey, how can I be of help in this process?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? Just a calendar. It could be a paper calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be an app.
It could be Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't ask me about Google Calendars. It's my nemesis.
Calendar invites. Calendar invites, yes.
And then the last step would be, and this, we're going to invite all of you to go and get the 8 Dates book from the Gottmans that we discussed a few book corners ago, because the Gottmans have an incredibly effective approach on how to agree to disagree. And whenever there is a difference of opinion with your ex-partner, kind of going through the steps, and the first step is talking about what it made you feel. Not going into the this or that of the situation. How did it make you feel? Understanding that there are different realities on how we see the situations.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah, so validating that reality. Understanding also that we are responsible for things that happen in our communication as co-parents. And again, we're not perfect. We are flawed. We're going through loss, through grief, through anger. So understanding what our responsibility is, understanding what the triggers were.
Right. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
And here's something that is important to recognize too. And you know, we were just chatting before we turned on the camera that, you know, again, up until the point where a couple decides to go their separate ways, we are so supportive of the relationship and getting the relationship back on track. Once that going separate ways happens, it's our job to be supportive of the children who are impacted. And children have such permeable boundaries. And so what is not going to be okay ever is for you to say something negative about their other parent.
Yeah.
Because that is 50% of who they are. Right? And be very, very careful about saying anything negative, not to your child, but within your child's hearing ability, right? So maybe you're unloading, maybe you're venting, that's fine. Be sure that you are in tune to what's going on with the kids there. So
knowing that children are not messengers between parents, that they should not be used as weapons either, and just that intentionality or that awareness of, I'm going to zip and I'm going to wait until the kids are asleep, or I'm going to wait until I can meet up with my friend and just vent, or with my therapist and just talk about it.
Yeah, and that is where oftentimes there is that individual work that can continue beyond the couples therapy sessions to help with the co-parenting process, to help with the grieving process, all of those things to help set you up as the best version of yourself to co-parent.
So if you are going through this process and you want to discuss this as individual, call us. Let's make an appointment. If your ex-partner is willing to come in and do a few co-parenting sessions, call us. Let's work with it. I'll even take it a step further. If you have a blended family and step-parents are willing to come in so that everybody is on the same page, call us.
And that really just looks like sitting down. Here's a pad of paper. Let's go through the steps. Let's go through the process. Hey, if you need some follow-up support with whatever fine-tuning and tweaking of this process, then, we can help with that too. But
the main axis are the children and their well-being.
Yeah. All right. So like Giara said, we are here to support you in successful co-parenting. You can give us a call at 813-434-3639. Have a great Monday, everybody. Good to see ya.